your girl Tierra Nay. Yeah. Welcome to the live. Welcome to the live, BC. Trying to see. It's dark in here, so you're not gonna see me anyway. Welcome everybody to the live. As the title suggests, this live is about the path of the generational curse breaker. I was just sitting here reflecting on my life, and I don't want to do too many videos that talks about, like, family and being the oddball and being what's called the black sheep and things like that. Really, I believe I'm the golden sheep, but most people call it the black sheep because they're the ones that are ostracized, the ones that's the oddballs, the ones that's going to be doing things a lot differently than their family, ones that have different values from their family and things of that nature. Some people were physically made the eyeballs. They were physically ostracized. They were physically separated, or made to feel like they didn't belong, or made to feel like they were the scapegoat. Some people like to throw that one around as well. That wasn't necessarily my experience. Nobody separated me. It was just me already having internal knowing that, this is not really gonna be for me. This is not really gonna be my values. I'm not gonna look at life the same way that everybody else in my family is going to look at life. So this path is very much a unique one. It's very much one that's not for the faint of heart, like we like to say. Oh, it's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely not. And on this journey, I really had to realize my true strength. I really did. Especially when I became conscious enough to truly understand. Conscious enough to truly understand that this was probably going to be a lone, solid journey, even with some connections, like some family members and some friends. For the most part, you on your own doing this. You're on your own. Because after a while, you come to realize, and for some, this is a realization sooner than others, you come to realize that it's just certain things you're not going to be able to keep going for within your family dynamics. You're not going to be able to keep looking at things a certain way. You're not going to be able to keep passing on values and behaviors and thought processes. You're not going to be able to deal with other people's fears of who you are and who you becoming. Kind of feel like in one of my dynamics that because this person was afraid of who they were deep down inside, which was reflected to them within me, was that it was just this fear. It's like fearing your own reflection. You know what I mean? And sometimes in those dynamics, those things in you will be attempted to be repressed by the person. Repressed or suppressed. There's a difference. One is when you do it to yourself, when you're the one holding it down and holding it in. And the other one is when the other person, I believe suppression is when it comes from something external. Someone tries to suppress something in you. Repression is you doing it to yourself, right? So the suppression, because this person reflects something in me that I'm afraid of, or something in me that I didn't get to fully express. It gets suppressed within you. And then guess what? We pass that on. That's called a generational curse. We keep passing it on and passing it on to the next one, on to the next one, on to the next one. No. And then you just come to that point where it's like, I'm not passing this shit on. Whether I have to go through the journey of cutting off certain habits and certain people, ideas, and values, whether it is I'm not having no children or I'm not having any children at all, because it's going to get passed on. It's going to get passed on. When you realize that you are on a certain path that cannot be continued within the family line, you kind of think about those things. You're like, I'm not passing that on. I don't really know if you could be a generational curse breaker and you have children. I don't know. You may can, but I just feel like, again, stuff like that gets passed on in the bloodline. People underestimate the power of the blood. Okay, you are passing on personality traits, ideals, behaviors within DNA when you're having children. So anyway, and I kind of always kind of had this sense of being on this path since young, but I never expected it to look the way it looks today. It's very much, people call it going no contact. I don't know if the no contact will stick for me or not, but I know as of right now, there is not much contact with family, even old friends and things like that, because certain things I cannot perpetuate. There are even certain things at this point. There is no discussion. There is no more talking about it. There is no trying to explain. There is no trying to be understood. That was my biggest thing, feeling misunderstood. Oh, I'm just misunderstood. I wish we would understand. And then you had kind of finally have to come to the point, and you just got to be okay with being misunderstood. People, they're not gonna understand. And if you can really hear me, you can hear that I can communicate. I can communicate an idea. Okay, I communicate very clearly. So the misunderstanding for me does not come from me not being able to speak or explain something. The misunderstanding comes from people either just wanting to misunderstand, or it literally just does not translate. And at a certain point, you have to realize that that's gonna have to be okay. You're just gonna have to be misunderstood, and you're gonna kind of have to pride yourself in that. I'm finally to the point where it's like, hey, I pride myself in having differing values, differ from society, or these ideas of, but we're still family though. That's something that still plays in my head. With this family member constantly saying, oh, but we're still family though, because it gives an air of lack of responsibility or lack of accountability, or just that it's okay for us to continue to do each other types of ways just because we're stuck in our ways. I don't like that. I'm working on the triggering effect of that. Because when something triggers you, it means it's still kind of like an embedded sort of pain or trauma. But we're still family though. I don't like it. I don't like it. Hello everybody, thank you for joining the live. Yes, there is no picture because I'm in the dark. It is in my area. What time is it? It's almost 6:30 in the morning. So the path of the generational curse breaker, I'm learning to embrace it. I know a lot of people talk about how, well, I already mentioned, how lonely it could be and things like that. And it very well can be. Sometimes it does suck. But overall, I value the time to myself. I value the time to truly come into myself and to pride myself in what's true for me. Because it is true, like sometimes when you're surrounded by people, whether it be family, friends, other people, you can't always clearly hear yourself, especially in a world that likes to talk. Oh my goodness. Now there is nothing wrong with talking and connecting and things, but in a world that likes to hear themselves, there is almost like a lot of people like to just talk just to be able to respond, to be able to say, oh, is it my turn yet? Versus being able to connect. It can be very hard to hear yourself. And I consider myself more of a listener anyway. I've been doing a lot more lives on here to get on here and talk a bit more and kind of speak about my truth and my life and things like that. But realistically, I like to do more observing and listening more than talking. But sometimes I do like to talk. Sometimes I like to, express where I'm at and my values and things I've learned and gleaned from life. And again, a world that just wants to hear themselves, if you're not taking time to yourself to hear yourself, how are you going to know yourself? So, if you've been here, you've been listening, let me know in the comments if you're on this path, what this path has been like for you. And are you embracing it? Is it more of a lonely journey for you? How did you know you were going to be on this path? Was it young? Was it old? Tell me a little bit about your experience. My experience has been a trial, but it has really tested my strength, which has always been there. I've always had an internal strength that I could sense very young, and it's just continuing to be honed today. At this point in time. Oh, and I think I was going into the no contact a little bit. I don't know if that'll stick or not. I don't know. I know some people, when they go no contact, it's just that's it. That's it. There is no more contact after that. I don't know. Because I realize too that I have a soft, forgiving heart. And I do. And I value that. It's hard in this world to be a little softer in that aspect. But I have a deep ability to understand where everybody comes from. Right, wrong, indifferent. I can understand. So I don't know. I just know that for me, during this time is necessary for me. So that is my spiel on the path of the generational curse breaker. Thank you if you tuned in. Thank you for those who commented. And again, just let me know if you're on this path and what it's been like for you. Peace and love.